there was a vehicle that came through the camera right at the very end of that clip. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Which vehicle was that?
That'd be the Cadillac that was involved in the crash.
Now, oops. Pausing the video now, 51 seconds in. Did we see the Escalade drive through the area just a moment ago?
Yes, we did.
Did it appear that there was a collision off at the top right corner of the screen?
Yes, there was.
Can you tell from this image what the light was on 2nd Avenue as you're entering the intersection with Lake Street?
It appears to be red.
Now, I also want to draw your attention to the top right of the screen. It looks like there's a timestamp of 9:11 p.m. Does that appear to be a correct timestamp to you?
Not for when the time of the crash occurred.
Is it your understanding that the time of the crash was about 10:11 p.m.?
Yes, it was.
Why would the timestamp be about an hour off?
It could be from whoever owns the camera system. They haven't adjusted properly for daylight savings time with that 1 hour difference.
So it's your understanding that this video would have been taken at 10:11 p.m. approximately?
Yes, correct.
Play the rest of the clip now. Sergeant, you also pointed out Sabry Properties on that map just a moment ago. Do you recall that?
Yes.
So that would be just another building down closer to the intersection with Lake Street, correct?
Correct.
Now publish Exhibit 124. In that image, in that clip, did we just see the Escalade traveling down 2nd Avenue towards Lake Street?
Yes, we did.
Now publishing Exhibit 125, another image from Sabry Properties. In this video clip, Sergeant Geiger, do we see the McDonald's on the right of the screen, as well as the actual intersection of 2nd Avenue South and East Lake Street?
Yes, we do.
And are we going to see the crash itself on this video clip?
Yes, you'll see the crash occur towards the left center bottom part of the screen in the intersection.
As we watch this video, are you able to see significant vehicle and pedestrian travel through the area?
Yes, I see lots of vehicle and pedestrian traffic, which is typical for that time of the night in that area.
And as you observe the traffic lights at both sides of the intersection, do they appear to be functioning properly?
Yes, they do.
Sergeant, in that video clip, Exhibit 125, did we see the crash itself occur?
Yes, we did.
And just prior to that crash, did you observe the driving behavior of the Honda Civic?
Yes.
Did it appear to be traveling according to the posted speed limit in the area?
Yes, it appeared to be traveling the same speed and like all the other vehicles that were before it.
Did it appear to enter the intersection on a green light?
Yes, it entered the intersection on a green traffic signal.
Did the Cadillac Escalade appear to be moving at a very high rate of speed?
It was moving at an extremely high rate of speed for the speed limits in that area.
And did it enter the intersection against a red light?
Yes, it did.
I have just two more clips to show you, Sergeant Geiger. You said that you also watched some Metro Transit video, is that correct?
That is correct.
And do these video clips that we're about to see, Exhibits 132 and 133, do they show the patterns, the cycling of the traffic lights at the intersection?
Yes, that what you can see for the lights, they do show the traffic signals.
And do they also show the crash itself, but from a different angle?
Yes, these are both taken from the bus station or the bus stops underneath the freeway with the 35W.
And the timestamp here at the bottom indicates that the video is beginning at 10:10 and 1 second p.m. Is that right?
That is correct.
I'll play that now. Pausing the video at timestamp 10, 11, and 3 seconds. Did we just see the crash itself?
Yes, we did.
Did you observe any near collision with any other vehicles close to this intersection?
There was another vehicle coming in the eastbound direction that just missed getting struck by the Cadillac.
I'll rewind the video slightly back 20 seconds or so. Was the vehicle that was nearly struck just entering the intersection from the side where this camera is located?
Yes.
And the Escalade passes right in front of it?
Correct.
And that occurs immediately before the Escalade crashes into the Honda Civic?
Correct.
Right, this last clip, Sergeant, is also a Metro Transit clip, is that correct?
Correct.
This would just be from the other side of the bus stop at Lake Street?
Yes, this would be taken from the north side or the westbound traffic lane.
And essentially, we are underneath the 35W overpass right now, looking towards the intersection with 2nd Avenue. Is that right?
That is correct.
Again, from this angle, are you able to see the traffic lights at this specific intersection where the crash occurred?
Yes, you can see the eastbound traffic signals.
And it appears to be functioning properly?
Yes, they do.
Do we also see a pedestrian walking down the road towards the camera at this point in time?
Yes.
And again, that wouldn't be unusual given that this was a bus stop?
Correct, that's not unusual in this area.
Did we just see the crash occur moments ago?
Yes, we did.
And again, you can see from this angle that the light on Lake Street is green, correct?
Correct.
Thank you, Your Honor. We can take down the screen now. Sergeant, you also testified previously that you were able to review the squad camera video from Trooper Guerra. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And in that video, were you able to see what color the light was on northbound 2nd Avenue at the intersection with Lake Street when the Escalade entered the intersection?
Yes, I could.
What color was it?
That was be red.
Now I want to move on from the video review work that you did. Did you conduct any forensic mapping of the area?
Yes, map the roadway of 2nd Avenue and the crash evidence.
What is forensic mapping?
Forensic mapping is when we use either our drones or forensic mapping equipment similar to surveyor's equipment, and we map the evidence at the roadway and the intersection or road design.
And what specifically do you do with the tools to be able to map it out forensically?
So with the drones, we fly a pre-positioned flight pattern over the roadway with overlapping photographs. We put that into photogrammetry software to get a scale diagram rendered. And if we're using our surveying type equipment, we have, through that equipment, we use a total station that shoots infrared laser to a prism. It's attached to a pole, and then I have a data collector. And I'll put in whatever point is in there for like if it's a gouge or a tire mark or a vehicle or a curb. I'll put that point in, and then wherever that prism is positioned, we'll grab that point. That also helps us with diagramming and documenting evidence at night and issues we can't use the drones.
So is this all data that you collect and you use in your overall calculations for speed and other factors like that?
Yes, we use this data to determine our pre and post impact angles and also speeds of the vehicles.
Are you also able to get any data from the vehicles themselves to learn more about what could have caused or led to the crash?
Yes, we can.
Do all vehicles contain that type of data?
Most vehicles operated in the U.S. market do contain data.
And what kind of data do they typically include?
Through that data, it would be speed, brake on or off, ABS activity, crash pulses, steering, ABS activity. And the more newer vehicles, the more data we'll get.
Where is all this data stored in a vehicle?
It's stored in sensing diagnostic module, airbag control module. Some of the newer vehicles have active safety control modules, front camera modules, and more.
Are all of these modules what people sometimes refer to as like a black box?
Yes, similar concept to a black box in airplane, but for your vehicle.
Are the modules always in the same place in every car?
They're generally in the same general locations of the vehicle.
How do you go about retrieving data from a module inside of a vehicle?
Modules inside the vehicle, I can plug our software into it's called the OBD2 port, or you have the check engine light, and your mechanic plugs into your car to tell you what's wrong with the car. I can plug into that same port and image the module that way. If we can't get that image that way, we can remove the module and put a specific cable to the module and then image it that way as well.
Is there a specific module referred to as the airbag control module?
Yes.
Were you able to retrieve the airbag control module data from either of the vehicles involved in this crash?
Yes, I was able to retrieve the data from both the Honda and the Cadillac from the airbag control module.
Is there also a module called the active safety control module?
Yes.
And were you able to retrieve data from that module for either of the vehicles involved in the crash?
Yes, that specific module is just in the Cadillac. We were able to retrieve the data from that module as well.
And was that with the assistance of Sergeant Brum?
Yes, it was.
And what did he have to do to get that data in this instance?
The active safety control module, he was unable to image it from the vehicle. So he removed the module. And then I went to a dealership that was close to our office, and we put that module into an exemplar or a similar vehicle. In this case, it was a GMC Yukon. And we plugged my module into that computer system of that vehicle, and we're able to image the module that way.
So you were able to collect this data and use it in the calculations and the conclusions of your crash reconstruction?
Yes.
Did you also conduct a post-crash vehicle inspection on both the Honda Civic and the Cadillac Escalade involved in the crash?
Yes.
What's involved in this type of inspection?
What I'm doing is I'm looking at the vehicle, documenting the damage to the vehicle, airbags, tires, seatbelt usage, or the airbags, what airbags deployed or didn't deploy. Then we look at the overall vehicle, seeing if we can determine if damage is pre or post impact, and if there's any obvious mechanical issues with the vehicle.
Did you observe any mechanical defects that could have contributed to the crash in this case?
No.
Nothing in either of the two vehicles?
Correct, nothing in either two vehicles.
Did you make any efforts to determine whether or not there was an active safety recall for either of the vehicles?
Yes.
What did you do?
I run the VINs through Carfax, get the Carfax report to see if the vehicles are involved in any previous collisions, and if any recall or manufacturer's issues were noted to Carfax.
And did you learn of any information that could have contributed to this crash?
I determined that both vehicles had no active recalls at the time, and the Cadillac had an active manufacturer's message about a trailer towing brake, but wouldn't have been a factor in this crash because it wasn't towing a trailer.
So there was a recall on the Escalade, but it only would have affected the vehicle if it had been towing something?
Correct. There had been something with the trailer brakes on that vehicle, that system.
Your Honor, permission to publish Exhibit 111, which has been accepted.
No objection.
You may.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sergeant, we're viewing Exhibit 111 right now. Does this appear to be the Cadillac Escalade involved in this crash?
Yes, this would be a front picture of the damage to the Cadillac Escalade.
Did you take this photograph as a part of your post-crash inspection?
Yes.
And what specifically can we note about the vehicle damage that's seen here?
It's mostly to the front end of the vehicle, the whole front end pushed rearward towards the passenger compartment.
And is this type of damage consistent with the type of crash that you observed in the video?
Yes, it was.
Exhibit 112, what are we seeing in this image?
Looking at the passenger rear corner of the Cadillac.
And what can you tell us about the damage visible in this photo?
You can see that the passenger rear wheel assembly is damaged. There's damage to the entire side and the back of the vehicle, and that the back passenger corner is pressed downward, indicating that the vehicle did roll after impact.
Moving to Exhibit 113, is this a photograph of the Honda Civic taken at the crash scene itself?
Yes, it is.
And what can you tell about the damage to the vehicle from this photograph?
I can tell this vehicle took a severe impact to the driver's side of the vehicle from a larger object.
And that's consistent with the video of the crash that you were able to review?
Yes, it was.
Exhibit 114, is this now the Honda Civic back at the tow yard away from the crash scene?
Yes, it was.
What do we see as far as damage to the vehicle in this image?
See extensive damage to the driver's side, showing some of how far the driver's side was pushed into the passenger compartment.
And so from this image, you're actually able to tell that the side of the vehicle was pushed into the vehicle itself?
Yes, it was.
And would that be into the area where occupants were seated at the time of the crash?
Yes, it would.